Hi, my name is Kirkpatrick and I'm here today to tell you about how OPSWAT helps protect our critical infrastructure customers against cyber attacks. We work with a lot of companies in the energy sector, utilities and defence, and they all have a need to see what OT assets are on their network. And for this we have our Neuralizer. It gives you full visibility into all of your organisation's OT assets, monitors for threats, violations and supply chain issues, and help protect the HMI and the PLCs that you can see here. Now here we have our OT fuse, which is the last line of defence for the OT assets that need them the most. So if you can think about that, say a water treatment plant, and your bad actors coming in that want to try and increase the amount of chlorine by 10x or 100x, OT fuse can prevent this. It establishes a virtual perimeter around that OT asset and prevents unauthorised config changes. But how do you actually get the files into that OT network? For this, we have our Meta Defender kiosk. It comes in a couple of different form factors and it's used for scanning portable media devices. So if you can think about it, say a contractor or an employee coming in with, let's say, design drawings or application updates on a USB, they put it into that kiosk. The kiosk will then use the Meta Defender technology to scan it with up to 30 different antivirus vendors. After it's been scanned, we can then prevent zero-day attacks using our industry-leading data sanitization technology, or deep CDR as we call it, deep content disarm and reconstruction. This is where we break a file down, remove anything that could be weaponized in that file, any active content, and then rebuild it to look identical to that original file. It can also help check for vulnerabilities within the files themselves. And once the kiosk has scanned the files, it can then be sent through our NetWall unilateral gateway or data diode, which ensures only one-way data flow, so that information can only go into that OT network and not out of it. And then it'll be sent into our Meta Defender Vault, which is our secure file storage solution. From here, a user can simply access those files by typing in an access code that they got at the kiosk via a web browser. The real beauty of this is this prevents the need for USBs to be brought into that OT network altogether, which allows our customers to have a zero USB policy if they want. But if they still want to allow USBs into that OT network, we're able to enforce the scanning at the kiosk by using either our USB firewall or our client, which can read a manifest which will be placed on that USB at the kiosk. There are some scenarios where you may need to bring a laptop across from IT to OT. You may have a contractor coming in or a member of staff returning from overseas, and you want to check that laptop to make sure it doesn't pose a threat to you. For that, we have our Meta Defender drive. It's a USB stick with a Meta Defender platform built into it. You just place it into that laptop, it'll scan up to 5 antivirus vendors, check for vulnerabilities, and it's even got a country of origin checker on there, which in today's current climate can be really useful if you have any restrictions on Russian software. Now, over to the IT side of our product stack. As we're all well aware, the biggest threat factor out there is through emails, and we've developed our email gateway security solution. It'll use the Meta Defender's multi-scanning and CDR that I mentioned earlier. It'll also have a proactive DLP, or data loss prevention, so you can automatically redact information like credit card numbers and national insurance numbers to prevent against data leakage. We're using a really good anti-spam and anti-phishing engine as well, so we're not just checking attachments on emails, we're doing embedded pictures, URLs, basically the email in its entirety. Now, we work with a lot of companies within the finance sector, and they have a lot of customers sending in documents through web applications. Think of a credit card company and people having to send in address and identification proof as part of KYC regulations. Our customers need to ensure that those files don't pose a threat, so we'll scan them with the Meta Defenders, the multi-scanning CDR and the DLP that we're spoken about previously, and we can integrate this with our ICAP server, which will allow for seamless integration with any web application firewalls or load balancers that you may be using. So that way you can ensure that those files are safe before they reach their designated folder. And once they're in that folder, we can scan it with our Meta Defender for secure storage, or MDSS as we call it. The real beauty of this is that if the file was scanned initially, the virus database may have been updated after that file was scanned. With Meta MDSS, we can routinely scan that file sitting in that S3 bucket or Azure blob, so that way you're protected long after that file reaches into your network. Lastly, now as you're all well aware, the way people have been working over the past few years has changed quite dramatically, with a huge increase in remote working. And we have developed a tool called Meta Access. This ensures device compliance before they join to access your network. So if you can think about remote workers, there may be some, antivirus could be out of date, there could be some potential vulnerabilities within the laptop itself. Meta Access will help ensure that it's safe and secure before it joins your network. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what it can do. It's also got a really good anti-keylogger and anti-screen capture, and it can work with any multi-factor authentication you have, like OPSWAT. So in summary, whether you're working from OT or IT, OPSWAT, we protect the world's critical infrastructure. And if you'd like to hear more about that, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to give you a bigger explanation. Thank you.